Hey everybody, today we're going to do a video about the evolution of the porta potty. Super exciting stuff. So we have a lot of different models of porta potties. You know, a lot of them we don't still rent out, but we do have them in the yard. So I figured what better way to put them to use than show them off to you. So let's get started. Based off of my 5 minutes of research before doing this video, the porta potty, right, was invented in the 1960s by a guy named George Harding. Originally, they were completely made out of wood, which now thinking about that is disgusting. So the earliest model that I have is a Poly Portables unit. There's purchase records of these units going all the way back to 1999. These toilets are possibly 25 years old. So I called my rep at Satellite to see how old it could possibly be, and she said that they stopped making units with wood bases at least 15 years ago. So that kind of gives you an idea of how old this unit could possibly be. It's at least 15 years old. Could be older than that. So if you see here, the base, the feet of these toilets are actually made out of wood, and there's a couple of reasons why this sucks. The first is it does not slide at all whatsoever. If you're trying to push it on a driveway or on grass, the wood just gets caught and they're a pain in the ass to move. The second thing that's terrible is they're so heavy. Even like when it's not raining, they're so much heavier than our plastic toilets, but when it is raining, they just soak up the water and become waterlogged, and I swear they're like double the weight of a normal porta potty and what it should be. If you look here, it's got the metal frame. Polyjohn still does the metal frame. But here is where you open it, the handle where you grab. It's also made out of metal. If you take a look here, the spring is completely exposed, which is super ugly. And watch this. When I close the door, it snaps shut. So if you see that, you know, if your finger is caught there, it's gonna do some damage because this is metal on metal that it would get caught in between. Let's do that one more time. Yeah, so you can see that's not gonna be pleasant to get your hand caught in. Here's our in-use marker. It's pretty worn out, right? But open, closed. So at least you can move it from the outside, which is good. They put a plastic base above the wood panel, so you can't tell that the base is wood from the inside. But here, got the urinal. These units are pretty old, like I said, so they've been marked up. The old units, they came with a 2-roll toilet paper holder. And there we go, we got the inside of the toilet. You can tell how used it is because the lovely stuff has just been solidified. Another look at the spring. Here's our interior use marker. It's very flimsy. It goes up and down like that. That's how people tell that it's in use or not. And then they have this cable that makes sure that the door didn't open too much, because then the spring gets even more force behind it. So this stops that from happening. Okay, our second unit that we're gonna go over, it's another Poly Portables unit. I'm not sure how old it is, but this is their first attempt at a plastic base, which I'm sure lots of people appreciated. It's still super heavy, so it's better than the wood, but it's still super heavy. So something that I find interesting about these toilets is the floor. So they put a texture on it, and if you see, they kind of mixed in paint colors with the floor base, and I don't know if that's so that it seems less dirty to the user, but that's just something that I thought was interesting. It's a textured floor with the paint color mixed in. If you look, the tank is pretty similar to the other one. Nothing too special about it. So one thing that I like is they kind of concaved it so that the water tends to run down and it pools up, or the texture kind of forces the water down and it doesn't pool up. So one improvement, big improvement of this unit is they put the spring inside of the door so it's not exposed like the other one. It still has our trusty safety on there. It still closes pretty hard. And then this one has a different locking feature. So this one, you slide it over and slide it back. These ones I don't like because they tend to break. If you look at this one, it's already breaking right here, because when you have it shut and people try to open it, see that it stresses this piece, which tends to break a lot, and these tend to break a lot as well. The other downside of this locking mechanism is it's hard to lock and unlock the unit from the outside, which maybe is good for a user, but for the operator and for your drivers, it's nice to have the door locked so it's not swinging open, hitting you in the face when you're delivering them. So if you see here, there's a piece of the sticker missing, because guys will take keys and then they'll dig it in there and then they'll slide it over to be locked and then they'll slide it back over to be unlocked. So yeah, this is my least favorite part of this unit, but in my opinion, a lot of good updates over the last one. Okay, our next toilet in our lineup, Poly Portals definitely made a lot of updates to it, and a lot of good things came with this version of their unit. I'm not sure how much longer it was made after the one we just saw, but and to be honest, I don't even know if it's older, but it has more advancements, so I like to think that it was older. And something that I like about the old Poly Portables units and sinks is they actually serial numbered every single item that they made. I think that's a pretty good idea. Something that we don't currently have in the current satellite units we get. That's a feature that I really like. You look here, you can see the difference between the plastic bases. So as you can see, this one's really short, so it doesn't work as well as these ones that are taller. I like the taller ones better. Here we have the latch where you put the lock through. In my opinion, bad design. Lots of times locks don't fit through there. If you see here, the in-use marker is switched back to the other one where you can spin it from the outside. You know, there's your in-use, there's your open. Here you go, we'll open it. Looks like the spring is exposed on this one as well. So I like the feature on the other toilet where the spring is inside of the door. Tank design, as you can tell, hasn't changed all that much. The urinal is big, a huge bowl. And then we did this upgrade, actually upgraded to a 3-roll of toilet paper holder. You can tell the floor is upgraded. No more paint texture on there. The interior of the unit remains mostly the same. Here's the venting. So each one is a cutout with a vent slip into it. And then now we move on to the last iteration of the Axis toilet that was made by Poly Portables. So don't know the year for this one either, but this is the most recent. You'll probably still see some of these around. The best way to tell that it's still a Poly Portables unit is, number one, their logo is gonna be right there on the door. And then they have these black spring hinges rather than metal ones. With this model, they moved to a light plastic base, and there's holes to stake down the toilet. So really good improvement here. So in my opinion, these are the worst part of these units. The reason why I think that they made that change is because of the violent nature that the springs used to close on. Because if you see here, there's no spring anywhere to be found, which looks nice, but the door almost closes too softly. And when these start to wear out, your door will remain propped open. So now they sell springs that you can install post-market to fix this problem, but you're supposed to be able to tighten these in order to get the spring back, but after time, it doesn't really do anything. So you have these 3 plastic hinges in place of the spring. And one of my least favorite things about these units are these lock hasps. They're not big enough to fit a standard master lock. like a master combination lock. I don't know who designed that, but terrible idea. It's made to put locks through and they don't fit. So if you look, like I said, it doesn't close that hard. They have this, they added this little bar to help close it from the inside. Represent Dahlonega, Georgia. So this is the close and open lock that they use for this model. It works really well from the inside, but again, from the outside, same problem. It's hard to open, which I don't really like, and then my guys end up kind of messing up and struggling to close it. We got the floor. Revamped urinal. Takes up less space. In my opinion, a little bit easier to clean. And then also, you can see the tank is a little bit revamped as well. More curved, less boxy. So I like it, because the brush can kind of fit in all those places. There we go. Alright, we made it to our last stop of the tour. This is the current unit that we rent to customers today. So in 2018, Poly Portables was purchased by Satellite Industries, which is the current provider of our toilets. They did keep some of their products in the acquisition, and some of them they didn't, some of them they scrapped, but the Axis unit is something that they did leave. So I'll show you guys the units side by side. You can definitely see the resemblance. So some of the changes that were made, the hinges are metal again. This toilet uses those same bases, but they're black, as you can see here. First improvement here, the lock hasp. If you look here, it's much bigger, and a combination lock fits through no problem. Because sometimes it's not aligned perfectly, but it doesn't matter, these fit perfectly. Here we have the in-use marker. Best thing about this, you can easily move it up and down because there's a notch for you to put your finger. So when you're doing pickups and you want to close the door, all you do is slide that down, right? Easy. Let's open the door. Have a nice big handle to grab right here. And if you look, the springs have been built inside of the door, and there's 2 of them. So if you let go, closes nice, and it keeps the door shut. It doesn't stay open like the previous Axis unit. We have our textured floor, nice and simple. There's lots of room for water to escape, so it's not pooling up in the floor. We have that same urinal. Here's the in-use marker from the inside. Every unit comes standard with a 3-roll toilet paper. And then we got our toilet seat covers here. As you can see, we got our tank design here. Beautiful. In my opinion, one of the best changes that they made with this model is the vents are actually cut into the wall of the plastic. Having to deal with those screens popping out and having to replace them, they're built into the wall, so you don't have to worry about that. So maybe it doesn't seem like that much of a difference to the user, the difference in between all these models of porta potties, but trust me when I say that there's a big difference as the operator when you're moving it. You know, current units are light, easy to maneuver. The old units are made of wood, they get waterlogged, more stuff gets damaged. So it's just cool to see the changes they've made over time in order to continue to make the units better. And I know Satellite continually tries to improve stuff. My rep tells me different changes that are being made on the way. And obviously things that a normal person wouldn't notice. But for me, I like that kind of stuff. So, but all in all, I really like our model of porta potty. You know, it's easy to work with, customers like it, and I don't get a lot of complaints about it. So if you enjoyed this video, subscribe so that I can bring you some more porta potty content. Yeah, we'll see you on the next one.